Today, we're going to be talking about how to start a successful photography business. So who's excited? Type in the chat box if you're excited. Just say yes, say me, say whatever you want, but who's excited? David says, yeah. Cole says, me. Andy says, yep. Thomas says, I'm pretty hyped. Quentin says, woohoo. Steve, yep. Dr. Hino says, yes, we got very much. I am, yes, I am, yes. So excited. Awesome. Okay, cool. So quick question. I guess I kind of asked this already, but who here already has a photography business? If you do, type in yes and maybe the name of your company. Just curious to see where everyone is in terms of their level, in terms of where they are, in terms of their journey to starting a photography business, I guess. Okay, so we got one. Roshan has Eye of Roshan. So yeah, we got about 28 people here. So I guess 1 for 28. Okay, we've got 2 for 28, 3 for 28, 4. Okay, we've got 4 people now. So we got, 5, 6. Okay, we've got a couple here. At least a third or maybe a quarter of you have a business. At least some sort of business. Okay, cool, good to know. Awesome. Okay, so quick housekeeping. During the presentation, I will mute everybody. If you have a question, just type it in the chat box. And usually after I'm finished the section, I will look at the chat box and answer your questions, or else I will leave it to the end. Usually I will answer them kind of after I've finished the section. If you don't already have one, make sure to grab a pen and paper, okay? Because we're gonna go through a lot of information and you're going to want to take some notes, because there's going to be a lot of actionable items that I'm going to be presenting today. Okay. The workshop will be recorded, more for so for myself actually, so that I can kind of go over it, just to kind of review the workshop so I can improve on it. If I decide to do it again in the future, I can kind of review how I, just how I did and what I can do to make it better next time. Group photo. I think that we should do that. We have a lot of people here. Let's see here. Actually, maybe not. Everyone's like muted. Or not muted, but they have their, they don't have their webcam on, so we'll skip that. It's all good. Okay, so let's get started. How to start a successful photography business. Okay, so here's the agenda for the day. We're going to start with an intro, so talk a little bit about me and basically who I am and why you should even listen to what I have to say, right? Then I'm going to give you 2 lessons about how to start a photography business. They're kind of like fundamental lessons. Then I'm going to give you a roadmap on actually how to start a photography business, kind of like a step-by-step. Then there's going to be a little giveaway. Then I'm going to have another bonus lesson. Then there's going to be a little gift at the end for those that stick it out to the end. And then at the very, very end, I'm going to present an offer to you guys for those that want to work with me. Okay, so intro. Who am I? Why should you even listen to me? Who's this Steven guy that's talking? Okay, so here's a little bit about me. I've been doing photography for 7 years now, full time. Before that, I actually was an engineer. So I did the engineering thing, the whole being an employee. Then after, I decided to start my own business, and then I've been doing photography for 7 years. Plus, I also do a little bit of videography too. I'm a teacher and an educator, so I love doing workshops. I've done numerous workshops just on teaching people how to use their camera, like fundamentals like camera basics to how to edit photos on Lightroom and Photoshop, and portrait lessons, and even done some marketing stuff like teaching people how to use Instagram, how to use Facebook. So yeah, I love teaching, and with me running my own business for 7 years, I've learned how to run a business. And so I also enjoy teaching people how to market their business. Some fun facts about me: I've backpacked from Panama to Mexico. I spent 4 months doing that. Once I actually took a helicopter to the top of a mountain just to take some photos. Yeah, that was at a mountain called Mount Assiniboine, which is near Canmore. Basically, the only way to get to the top of the mountain is either to take a helicopter ride or to hike 8 hours straight up a mountain with full gear, because you have to stay overnight at the top of the mountain. Okay, so I actually was born in Saskatchewan, so I'm not from Alberta. I'm from Saskatchewan originally. Don't hate me. And as I mentioned, I went to university and graduated from engineering. Did the whole 5-year program. And then I worked as an engineer between 2005 to 2014. So 7 years, well, 9 years, I guess, I was an engineer. And while I was an engineer, I was also doing photography, and I was doing mostly like landscape photography. It's just something I kind of enjoyed as a hobby on the side. And this is actually my first. This is like kind of when got the occasional paid gigs here and there. And this is actually a photo from my very first wedding that someone actually paid me for. Then in 2014, the price of oil crashed, right? Most of you are from Alberta and you know about what happened in 2014. Price of oil crashed. Anyone that was involved in the oil and gas industry got laid off, including myself. And so from there, that kind of started me on my journey to becoming starting my own business, basically. I started a company called Stephen Lee Photography in 2015, and I was, making about part-time income. When I was starting out, I didn't have a niche. I like to call myself a everything photographer. So I did a little bit of everything. I did some weddings, I did some portraits, I did some real estate, I did some family, couples, and headshots. So I tried a little bit of everything, and I was making some, decent part-time income for someone that didn't really know what they were doing and didn't really know how to run a business, right? The only thing I knew how to do was photography. Even did some stuff that wasn't really up my wheelhouse. I've done some newborn, some photo booth, did some lessons, and also did some canvases. Now, when I was starting out, I was doing it part-time. I didn't even have another part-time job. So I was doing photography full-time, but making part-time income. And I was actually losing a lot of money in my first 2 years because I had a house, I had a mortgage, and I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just winging it. It's like, hey, I'm just gonna start a photography business. How hard can it be? Right. And I didn't have any mentors or really any guidance from anything. And yeah, you can kind of see first 2 years, and this is per year. So like I was only making about maybe 20K every year. And then my expenses, including all my mortgages and everything, were at least 40K a year, and I was losing about 20 grand a year. Trying to grow a photography business and trying to making it full time. So definitely not something I recommend you do, going all in unless you have money. And then something happened. I I discovered started to kind of come across people that could actually teach me a little bit more about the business side of photography. So I found some mentors, right? And here were some of the people that I ran into. On the left-hand side was a professional boudoir photographer and wedding photographer. The middle one was a business coach that specialized in business operations. And then the right-hand side was another business coach that specializes in um, structuring your business in such a way that you are your own boss, basically, and you're in control of who you work with. So once I started kind of running into people that were successful, successful business owners, both in photography and people that knew how to run a business and could teach people how to run a business properly, that's when things really started to change for me, and really where I started to basically start to make it as a full-time photographer. So then after meeting some of these people, and there's other people too, I started making full-time income, and I decided I was going to be a commercial photographer. So I would do things like headshots, real estate, product photography, food photography, and lifestyle branding photos for businesses. And then, yeah, here's another photo of me doing a clothing photo shoot for a company in town called Muscle Beach. And then, as I mentioned, I also do a little bit of video. So here's me doing some videos for some clients. So yeah, that's kind of my journey of how I went from, learning photography, just doing it for fun, to transitioning to starting a business, and then transitioning to making it full time. So that's kind of a little bit of my journey, just to kind of show you that it is possible, but it takes time, right? Okay, so to answer owner's question, I'm actually going to answer that question later in this workshop. I will cover that. Okay. And then for Vadim, will there be a recording that be sent out? No, there will not be a recording sent out of this. This is live only. Okay, so lesson number one. Okay, and the first two lessons are going to be fundamental lessons, right, of how to start a photography business. And then the third lesson is when we get into the actual technical side, if you want to call it, of all the actual steps that you need to take. Okay, so lesson number one. So one of the first things that you need to do to start a photography business, and not just start one, but like start one now, is you need to do something called burn the ship. Okay. Who here has ever heard of the concept of burning the ship? You can type in the chat box if you heard of the concept of burning the ship. Okay, so nobody has? Okay, that's okay. You guys are going to be learning something new then, which is good. It was always a good thing. Okay, Wes has. Okay. Uh, that's correct, Andy. So Andy says, is it like selling my house in the UK to come to Canada? Yes, it is. Vadim says, yeah, he's heard of it. Wes says, comes from an old general in China, I believe. In my case, it's not, but there might be two stories involved, I guess. Okay, sorry. So before I talk about what is burning the ship, where it comes from back in the olden days, kind of back in like the Columbus area, where someone from Europe, his name was Hernan Cortez. He basically from Europe decided to come over to North America, right? They're discovering North America, and he brought his entire army with him, right? And he came to North America and they landed on shore. I don't know exactly where, so maybe somewhere in Mexico or somewhere in the US, right? So I got to shore and there were all these natives there, right? And they were outnumbered. They were outnumbered, I think, like 5 to 1, right? And then he told his men, hey guys, burn the ship, right? And basically, why he said to burn the ship is basically said, hey guys, we're going to either win or we're going to die, right? There's no plan B. There's only either plan A, we win, or we die, or there's no going back home, right? No going back to Europe, right? So he told his men to burn the ship. So they burnt the ship, and then basically they had no choice now. They had to fight and win or die, right? So that's where the concept of burning the ship comes from, okay? And you need to do that. So this principle applies to not just starting a photography business, but just doing to anything really difficult in life, okay? So starting a photography business, I would say, is something that's difficult. It's not something that you can just like hit a switch and it's done, or take a couple hours and it's done, right? It's like a 2 to 3 month process potentially, right? Depending how much time you have. So you need to do something to make you take action now and basically give you no plan B, meaning there's no option for you to not start a photography business, right? If you're serious about it, you need to do something to make sure that you go ahead and actually start a photography business. So here, how do you burn the ship, right? I will give you some examples of burning the ship in real life, okay? So you don't have to actually physically burn a ship. So Andy actually gave a great example, right? Where was it? So he wanted to move to Canada. So what he did was he sold his home in the UK. Now he's homeless in the UK, right? And he has to go somewhere, right? And he's like, I'm coming to Canada. It's happening, right? Okay, so in the real world, some ways you can burn the ship. One is to go to school, right? Go to school for whatever you want to learn. Like for me, I became an engineer, right? How did I become an engineer? I went to the university, paid a lot of money, and then I basically, had a really good chance of graduating and becoming an engineer, right? So you can go to school. That's one way. You can invest money. So often when you spend money on something, you're more invested in it, meaning you're more likely to do the thing that you decide to spend money on, right? It's like buying, like paying for sports, or paying for a course, or paying for a class, or paying for some training, or paying for just when you pay for things, you're more likely to kind of commit to actually doing it, right? So as I mentioned, paying for a class, right? When you pay for a class, you're invested. You're more likely to show up and not just like, nah, I think I'm going to skip class, and just like, and then you lose that money that you spent, right? So whatever you're trying to learn, you pay for a class. You can hire a mentor. Okay, so when you hire a mentor, now you have somebody that's holding you accountable, right? Meaning they set up a time to meet with you and you're going to do whatever you're planning on doing when you're going to have that meeting, right? You can have yourself an accountability partner or group, right? So someone that says that's going to be like helping you to make sure that you stay on course and make sure you do what you said you're going to do, right? So this could be like a spouse, this could be your kids, a family member, a close friend, a mentor, right? A business partner, whatever, whoever kind of close to you. You can make a public declaration. Okay. Who here has ever tried that before? Where you post it on Facebook or you post it on social media saying, hey guys, this year I'm going to blank, right? Or I'm going to do something and and you actually went through with it. Has anyone ever tried that? Right? Some people will be like, hey guys, who wants to join me? And we're gonna create a little group where we're gonna help each other eat healthy and lose weight, maybe, or something, right? Or some of them, or hey, it's like this year I'm going to travel to blank, right? Okay, so I'm gonna give you some real life examples. Okay. So one of the things that I've done is travel the world. So I would say this is something that is very um, is it's very hard for people. Like this is something that a lot of people want to do, but not a lot of people actually end up doing it. Right? It's not something that's simple, right? And this is actually something I've done before, right? So how did I burn the ship so that I was able to travel the world? Okay. So this is what happened to me. So this is me in Panama. So while I was an engineer, I was sick and tired of my job. Like I was doing it for like I think for I was 7 years, and after like year three, I was already sick and tired and I wanted to quit my job, but I just didn't have the guts to quit. And then I basically put up with it for another 4 years of being miserable at work. And then by year seven, I finally, kind of like reached my tipping point. And I'm like, forget it. I'm out of here. I'm quitting. And hopefully, if I work for another company as an engineer, I maybe like that job better. And then so I ended up buying a one-way ticket to Panama. So now I spent money, right? And it's one-way ticket to Panama isn't cheap. It's like $800 maybe, 800, yeah, about around 800 to $1,000. So now I'm committed, and it's also one way. So I don't know when I'm coming back. And and then I'm like, hey, I'm leaving, and there's a date on this ticket, and I'm going, right? So that's what I did to travel the world. I did something where it was hard for me to come back. I could, return the ticket or not use the ticket, but I already spent the money. Now, the second thing I did was I also quit my job. so, so I did two things. I burnt the ship twice, right? I quit my job, and I also bought a one-way ticket to Panama. So basically, once I quit my job, it was like, hey, it's no going back. This is happening. So that's how I was able to do something like that. Okay, so how did I become a full-time photographer? If I did not burn the ship, I would have never been a full-time photographer. Okay, it would have never happened. I might have become a part-time photographer, but like a super casual part-time photographer doing like maybe two weddings here and five, portraits and family sessions here and there per year, right? Just super casual while still working as a engineer, right? But I would never been a full-time photographer if I never burnt the ship. So how did I burn the ship so that I became a full-time photographer? Well, I did two things, or at least one thing. No, there's two things that happened, and these things were not things that it wasn't something that it wasn't me that was burning the ship in this case. It was the thing. It was my environment that decided to burn the ship for me and force me to become a full-time photographer. So how did the universe burn the ship for me? Well, step one, I got laid off, right? I can't control the price of oil. When the price of oil crashed, I got laid off. But what happens when most people get laid off? They find another job doing the same thing, right? So in my case, I should have just found another job as an engineer. But why didn't I find another job as an engineer? Again, this is the universe telling me I need to be a full time photographer. because the price of oil crashed, there was actually very little work for engineers. So I couldn't find another job as an engineer. So if I need to make, so for me to make money and to pay for my mortgage, I had to make money. And I was like, okay, while I'm looking for an engineering job, I guess I'll start this photography business, right? And so it was the universe in this case that burnt the ship for me and got me to become a full-time photographer. Okay, another great example. Something that I've been thinking about for like 4 years was creating an online course. As I mentioned, I do teach photography. And this is something that I've been thinking about for 4 years, and I never end up doing it until this year. And the reason why I ended up doing this year was, again, the concept of burning the ship. I did something that made me do it this year and do it now versus like the 4 years where I've been thinking about it, right? Like how many people here have been thinking about starting a photography business? Like how long? Just type in how many years have you been thinking, or it could be months, months or year. How many months or years have you been thinking about starting a photography business? See, we have 3 years, 5 to 10 years, couple years, 5 years, 3-ish years, 1 to 2 years, 3 years, 1 year, 3 years, 3 years, 4 year, a month, okay, 4 months. So most of you have been thinking about this for years, right? And the reason why this hasn't happened is because you haven't burnt the ship, right? You've been thinking about, but there's nothing, you always have plan B, right? Plan B means just do nothing, just status quo, right? And that's why this concept is so important, right? And this is why, even though this is like a very theoretical topic, right? It's super important because so many of you have been thinking about it, thinking about it, thinking about it, thinking about it, and not really taking action, right? And we're going to talk about how to actually burn the ship and start your photography business now, today, actually, or tomorrow, but we'll get there in a second. Okay. Yeah, so creating an online course. I've been thinking about this for 4 years. So don't worry if you're like, you've been thinking about this for 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 years. I've been thinking about starting an online course for 4 years. Okay. And how I finally pulled it off was I joined a accountability group, right? There's another word for it is in a mastermind. So I basically joined this group where basically we talk about our goals and then we push each other to take little steps every week towards the goal. So when we finish the meeting, we say, okay, what is the next step that you're going to take by the next meeting? Right. And we keep doing this every week, every week, every week, every week. If you want to join something like this, you can either create your own, right? Just find a group of friends that want to achieve certain goals, and then you just like, hey, we're gonna help each other, push each other to achieve these goals. Or you can actually look up masterminds, like you can Google it and look for them, and then you can actually join mastermind groups. Okay, Pam says, I'm sort of burning the ship, but kept on resorting to the same thing. What were you doing to burn the ship, Pam? Or at least trying to burn the ship? Um, Quentin says, I used to be part of a writers group. They helped motivate me to write my first manuscripts. Awesome. Now, see, Quentin was part of an accountability group and to got him to start writing. So Pam says got laid off. Okay. Yeah, you need that part two, right? And the part two is actually have no job to look for and actually have to create your own work, right? And then Pam says, don't have the fun to start a business. Actually, starting a business doesn't cost a lot of money, a photography business specifically, except for gear. That's what I would say is your biggest cost. But I'm assuming if you're in this group, you already have gear. You just need some basic gear and you can start making money doing photography. Okay, other examples? Well, I actually gave 3 examples, so I think that should be sufficient. Well, I guess if you guys want to, um, you can type in 1 or 2 big goals that you might have outside of starting a photography business, and I'll give an example what you could do to burn the ship. Kathleen says business license. Yes, business license does cost money, but it's not that expensive. I guess that's relative. It's like depending on where you're based out of, I think it's around 250 maybe for the year. Yeah. Okay, so we don't have, okay, this is a good one. So Quentin says he made a bet that if he didn't lose 60 pounds, he would give him $500. Yes. So that's another way to be accountable is by having a consequence if you don't hit a certain goal, right? So it could be financial, could be you need to do something for that other person, maybe, right? So it could be an actionable item, right? Okay, lesson two. So now we talked about burning the ship, right? Because I noticed a bunch of you have been thinking about and talking about this for years. So I'm going to show you how to, at the end, I'm going to summarize everything and then show you how to actually take the action, okay? How to actually burn the ship and start your own photography business. Okay, lesson two. You need a mentor, okay? Just like anything you want to learn in life, right? If be it you want to learn to drive a car, you want to learn another language, you want to learn how to cook a certain dish, you want to learn a specific skill like glass blowing or ceramics, like making pottery, or even photography, right? Like how to become a better photographer. Or you want to learn Photoshop, you want to learn editing, you want to learn uh, clothing design, whatever you want to learn, yes, you can totally learn it. Try to learn it on your own, right? You can totally do that. We live in the world of YouTube now, right? Where you can just Google anything or YouTube anything, and there's somebody that's going to teach you something. But the people that are teaching you are experts in their fields usually, right? So watching YouTube video is a sort of like mentoring, right? Um, and you need basically someone that has done it already to show you how to do it, right? Right? You could try to figure it on your own. And if you're that good and you're able to figure it out on your own, that's awesome. But if you really want to accelerate that process and learn quicker, you really want to learn from someone who's done it before and can show you how to do it properly, right? So, as I mentioned, YouTube is a great place for information, right? You can pretty much go on YouTube and YouTube anything nowadays, right? It doesn't have everything, right? But it has a lot of information on there, right? So whatever you want to learn, YouTube's a great place. The only issue with YouTube is you can't talk to it, right? You can't ask it questions, right? It basically gives you information and then you either take it and work with it. And if you have issues, well, there's no one to support you. There's also school, right? Usually the teacher knows what he's talking about and is able to, help you with whatever you're trying to learn. You can take online courses, right? Again, same thing. You got mentors or people that are experts in their field, and they basically put all of everything that they know into an online course for you to learn from them, right? And there's a lot of you can pretty much find anything you can think of that you want to learn. There's generally an online course for that. You just have to go out there and find it, right? I mean, it applies to starting a photography business. It applies to just learning photography, right? Where can you go to find some online courses? So here's some places. You can go to Udemy. You can go to Creative Live. There's lynda.com. There's Skillshare. And then a lot of photographers, like if they're experts in their field, they generally will have their own courses, right? And you just have to go to their website, and sometimes they'll have a course for sale either on their website or they're hosting their course through a third-party site like a Udemy or a Creative Live or a lynda.com or a Skillshare. Okay. Okay. And then lastly, which is like the best option, but also the most expensive option, is get an actual mentor, right? Because when you try to get someone's time, like their one-on-one time, especially when they become experts in their field, they generally would charge a lot, unfortunately, right? But this is ultimately the best way. If you can find one that's not like too high up, right? Like they're in a good place, but they're not so high that they're going to charge a lot for their time. Those were maybe the mentors that you want to reach out to. But there are ways to get access to mentors and not have to pay a lot or pay very little or pay nothing at all. Okay, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how to find mentors. And you got different options, right? You can have options where you pay nothing at all. There's options where they pay you, actually. They're paying you and they're mentoring you at the same time. And then there's the other way around where you have to pay them for them to mentor you. Okay, so you have the whole spectrum. Okay, so if, for example, if your goal is to be a full-time photographer or even a part-time photographer, okay, you want to find someone who's already running a business and you want to learn from them. If this is the route you want to take to learn how to become to start a photography business, okay? So here are the different options of how you can get access to people that are experts in their field, okay? You can help them out, right? You can reach out to them, it's like, hey, do you need help with anything? I'll be your second shooter. I'll be your assistant, and I'll, help you set up the lights, pose your clients, help you carry gear, whatever, right? I get asked quite a bit from people wanting to help me out with photo shoots, right? So that's a pretty common thing. Okay, you can do that. You can collaborate with them. So like work on a photo shoot with them together, or what else can you do? You can work on a project together, maybe do a collaborative post, right? Where you're maybe promoting each other on social media as an example, right? Um, you can, yeah, different ways to collaborate. Whatever the projects that they're working on, maybe like, hey, can I help you out with something, or can we work out together on something together, right? Maybe work on a photo shoot together, right? You can join a mastermind. So this is something I talked about, which is that accountability group. Okay. So for me, I was able to access someone whose time was worth $500 an hour. He's like basically a master at marketing. He charges people $100 an hour for one-on-one time with him, right? And I was able to get access to him for free by joining a mastermind, right? And basically, a mastermind is just me and a bunch of other people. We get together and we basically talk about our goals, how we can help each other, and then talk about what we're going to do next to move towards the goal, right? So that's like a form of collaboration, right? Where we're working together to help each other. And at the same time, now I have access to this one person, which normally would charge $500 an hour for his time. And I'm learning so much about marketing from this guy, right? You can work for free. So a lot of people, including photographers, are open to having an intern, right? If you have the time, you could be like, hey, can I work for you for free and just job shadow you, right? And kind of see how you run your business, see uh, how you talk to clients, how you run a business, the behind the scenes, that type of thing. I've had people reach out to me, like students, like for example, students that went to Nate for photography, and they're like, "Hey, we need to shadow, like job shadow under a full-time photographer as part of our course, so that we can actually graduate." Right. So I've had people work for me just as interning, just to kind of see what it's like to actually run a business. So definitely, if you have the time, reach out to them. And a lot of photographers, I would say, they're not going to say no to free work, right? You're like, hey, someone's working for me for free. Totally, I'm going to be cool with that. Once in a while, they're actually hiring. So if you're lucky enough, you can maybe work for them, right? And they're actually going to pay you uh, for them to even teach you photography and teach you about the business side of things. Again, as an example, I'm constantly hiring people. I have an assistant position. I have second shooter positions. I have basically job openings. So again, reach out to them and just ask, are you guys hiring? Do you need an assistant? Right. And sometimes they'll even pay you for that, right? And then lastly, you have to pay them. So this is more like now coaching, right, or mentoring, where it's like one-on-one business coaching. Basically, if you pay them, then they're going to block off like that 1 hour and dedicate it purely just to you to answer any of your questions, right? And ultimately, if there's somebody that you really want to get access to and really learn from, usually that's the only way to get access to them is to pay them, unfortunately. And business coaches, or even just like people like photographers that are willing to teach you the business side of things, the going rate is around 250 an hour. So just kind of give you a ballpark, but or at least so you kind of know what to expect. But doesn't mean you don't know, what they're going to really want to charge if you don't ask, right? So ask for the rate, and you'll might be surprised. Oh, okay. So a little bit of a story. So I talked about having mentors and how important it is to have mentors, right? So as I kind of mentioned, I right now have mentors, and that's kind of why I've been able to continuously kind of keep growing my business, right? You always want to have mentors in your corner, right? At least one mentor, I would say, right? And so for me, right now, I actually have three mentors. So the guy on the left hand side is that $500 an hour marketing guy that I talked about in my mastermind. He's my go-to for anything marketing. The person in the middle is a bit actually in the middle and to the right are both business coaches. One's talks one one focus mostly on business operations, and the other one focuses on business structure, basically, kind of how to become your own boss and take control of your own business. So yeah, it's really good to have mentors, and you should have mentors in your corner. You don't have real life mentors, then again, YouTube, online courses are maybe the way to go if you can't get real life mentors. Okay. But a lot of times you can find them. You just have to go out there and look for them. Okay. So does anybody have any questions about that before I move on to the next lesson? No? Okay, we will move on. Lesson number 3. Okay, now that you decide to burn the ship and you got yourself a mentor to kind of help you, make sure you're on the right path. If you have a mentor, ask for a roadmap, right? And if you don't have a mentor, find a roadmap, right? Because let's pretend you're a pilot and you want to go from, Los Angeles to New York, okay? If you don't have a roadmap, right, like the coordinates of for New York, and you're just going to be like, I'm just going to fly to New York, right? Well, how do you know you're heading in the right direction, right? You can maybe head in the general direction, meaning I'm going to head east, right, towards New York. But you need to know exactly, the exact latitude, longitude, right? Because if you don't, then you might end up in Toronto, or you end up in Florida, or you end up in um, New Brunswick, right, or New Jersey instead of New York, right? So you need a roadmap to get you from point A to point B, right? And in your case, everyone's case here for the most part is you want to know how to start a photography business. So you need to know all the steps between not having a business to actually starting a business and getting some paying clients, right? Okay. So you need to know that roadmap and all the steps, right? Step A, step two, like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, right? Because if not, you can totally wing it. And anyone can just start a photography business, right? Create a website, and you could totally just like do it that way. And you'll be okay. But you might not be doing things properly. You not might be as efficient. You might not be doing things legally, right? You might be like, hey, I need a business license. What? Right? And then somebody runs around and be like, hey, here's a $200 fine because you don't have a business license, right? And shut you down, and now that person doesn't have a wedding photographer or something, right? So you need a roadmap. So who here wants the roadmap? Type in the chat box if you want the roadmap. Andy says please. Thomas says yes. David says yes. Cole says yes. Pam says yes. Please, yes, 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 yes. Okay, awesome. So before I get to the roadmap, somebody asked me a question. Spencer, hey Stephen, just a question going back to finding mentors. Are there any in-person photographers that meet up during non-COVID time to share photography and business knowledge in Edmonton? Yes, there is actually. I actually have a group like that. So I will talk about that at the end actually. So yeah, stay tuned, Spencer. I'll have an answer for you. Okay, so you guys want the roadmap. So here it is. Make sure you have a pen and paper, take some notes. Actually, no, wait. You don't have to take any notes because I'm actually going to give you a PDF with the roadmap. Okay, so you don't need to take any notes. If you want to, you can, but I'm going to give you a PDF with the actual roadmap. Okay, but I'm going to walk through the roadmap, just explain the different steps. Okay, step 1, you need a business name. I would say that's the first thing you need to figure out. Okay. Step 2, you need to get yourself a URL. Okay. And by email, ideally, you want a professional email. So meaning, info at yourcompanyname.com, right? Like for me, it's info at stephenleephotography.com, not stephenleephotography@gmail.com. Okay. And to do that is really easy, actually. If you don't know, just go to G Suite and basically you'll Google, but once you buy your URL, you tell them what your URL is, then you can get the at yourcompanyname.com through G Suite. Also, the company that you buy your domain from, like your URL from, will do that for you. But I generally don't recommend it because they use a different interface. Whereas with G Suite, you use the Google Gmail interface, which is super user friendly, I find. But it's ultimately your choice who you want to use for your email, like how to get your business email. Okay. Okay. Then you need to create a logo, and you need to figure out your brand. Okay. By brand, I mean, so you consider things like your company colors, right? Your the words that you want to use to describe your business, right? So that when you create graphics, it's all consistent, right? And just to kind of create a certain feel for the company, right? The way it looks. So that's what branding is. In a nutshell, branding means, like, the actual definition is what people say about you when you're not around. So in this case, what people say about your company when your company isn't there. Okay. Then you want to build a portfolio. I recommend at least doing 3 photo shoots, right, for each genre of photography that uh, you want to specialize in, right? For example, let's say you want to specialize in family, weddings, and kids. Okay, then you want to have at least 9 sessions done: 3 weddings, 3 family, and 3 kids. And when you do those 3, try to get some diversity. Either diversity in, like, culture, like someone who's Caucasian, someone who's maybe Asian, and someone who is Latina, whatever, right? Just a little mix. Or differences in location, right? So like indoor family, outdoor family, and then maybe outdoors in the summertime and then outdoors in the wintertime, right? So you want to have some diversity because when people are looking to hire you, they're more likely to hire you if they see something similar to what they want. Okay. So if someone sees, so let's just say I'm Chinese and I'm looking for someone to shoot a Chinese wedding. Well, I'm going to look for a photographer that has already shot a Chinese wedding, right? I'm less likely to hire someone if they've never ever done a Chinese wedding before, right? So yeah, so you want to have different examples, right? So that people can see your different range and get a feel for, hey, do I have confidence in this photographer to reproduce something that I want something similar to? Okay. But you need at least 3 to get started, right? And then over time, you can obviously have a bigger portfolio if you want, right? To cover all your bases, right? Like I know for weddings, for example, you can do classic weddings, right? In town weddings. You can do destination weddings. You can do mountain weddings. You can do outdoor weddings. You can do kind of like vintage weddings, and then more geeky weddings like Star Wars themed weddings. And you can do, so you can have a pretty large, like, diverse portfolio, right? But in the beginning, try to get at least 3. Okay. Then you want to create a website. Okay. Yeah, you really want to create a website because if you create a website, you look more professional, you look more legit, and people are more likely to want to hire you, and they're also more willing to pay you more money. Meaning, they're going to pay you, like you can charge more and get away with it if you have a website versus just purely relying on Instagram and Facebook for your portfolio. Okay, doesn't mean you can't get clients purely on Instagram and Facebook only without a website. You can, right? But it's better to have a website. Then you want to figure out what you're actually going to provide, like what's the actual service, right? And when I say service, I don't mean just, oh, I'm going to shoot families, right? Actually break it down, like what is the package you're going to offer, right? Like how many hours, how many photos, how much time do I get with you? Does it include location scouting? Like, is it in the studio? Is it going to be outdoors? Um, do you help with anything else? Like, what's the editing process like? Do you do in-person sales, right? Or do you just send the digitals and that's it, right? Then you want to figure out, so that's product. And then, yeah, so that's service, right? Product would be like, do you do canvas? Do you do albums? Do you do prints, right? If you're a fine art photographer, then you would just focus mostly on products, right? Canvas, prints, frame prints, and then pricing. How much are you going to charge for these different services, right? Now, when you're creating your service packages, right, I'd recommend you have 3 tiers, right? Kind of like a bronze, silver, or gold, because you want to have something for everybody, right? You might have some that are like more on the budget side and only want your lowest package. You got someone that wants something in the middle, right? The standard package. And then you got people that have lots of money and like they want to spend a lot of money, right? So you always want to have different tiers for different types of clients, right? Okay, so Lynn says, could we use my portfolio with Adobe? You can, if you can, but then that means you have to, it's the link to your Adobe, right? Where are you going to place that link, right? Thomas says, yeah, no, your portfolio. So yeah, so if you build a website, then you can provide a link. So you can put a couple like teaser images on your website and then say to see the entire session, click here, and it takes them to the full album, which is wherever you're hosting it, right? Be it Pixie Adobe, um, you know, Shootproof, whatever site you're using. Yeah. Okay, so if Adobe gives you a full-blown website, then that will be your website then. Yeah. How do you determine pricing? That's another topic for another day, but I will give you the short answer. I actually did a 2-hour workshop last night on business finance and pricing, actually. But the short answer, I'll give you some tips on pricing. Number one, do your research and look at what the competition is charging. Okay. So if you're a family photographer, look at all the family photographers you can find on Google in your area and see what they're charging. Some of them will have pricing on their website. Others will have pricing on their, will not have pricing. Then you just have to ignore those ones, right? But yeah, do your research, see what the going rate is, but also consider that, hey, are you at the same level as these other people, right? And if your level in terms of not just the quality of your images, but also your brand and your presentation, right? How people feel about you when they show up um, to your website, right? If it's not the same as these other photographers that you're seeing, then you can't charge the same price as them, right? But at least you know, once I get to their level, this is how much I should be charging, right? So you know maybe what's on the higher end that you should be charging one day. Okay. Blair says, any suggestions for website platforms? Yes. Um, Depends how techie you are. If you're techie, WordPress is like the king. Okay. If you're not techie, then Squarespace and Wix are very easy plug and play type websites, drag and drop. Anyone can use them. They give you templates. Yeah. Okay, so once you get your website, you figure out what you're gonna offer people and your pricing. You need to register your business. So hit up your local. Just just go to your city's website. So be it Calgary, be it Edmonton, and just go to business license Edmonton, business license Calgary, right? And then you will find the web page that says, here's how you apply, and you just go home base. Like when you apply for a business license, they're going to ask you what type of business do you own, right? For most of you, it's going to be home based. If you have a studio, meaning you work outside of your house, then you have to you have to pick that you're not home based and you're based out of an actual office. Okay. And the other thing they're going to ask you too is, are you actually doing the work based out of your house, or are you doing the work off site, right? Because if you're doing the work out of your house, meaning clients are coming to your house, that means a lot of foot traffic in your area. And basically your house is not just an office, but also a commercial space where clients are coming in and out of. Then you actually have to your license actually is a little different, like a different category than someone who's shooting people outside of their house, like let's say on site or at a studio or something like that. So make sure you get the right business license. Uh, sorry, I skipped that. Okay, I already talked about business license. When I say registering your business, I meant that means to register the name of your company, right? So make sure, so like if you picked a name like, we'll say, well, we'll pick my name, right? So my company name is Stephen Lee Photography. So to register my business, I just have to go to a local registry. So the same place you register your driver's license, right? And just say, hey, I want to register my business and this is the name of the company. And what they're going to do is they're going to look in their database to make sure no one else has the same name or something similar. If they do, they will warn you saying, hey, this other company has the same name as you or has something similar. Do you still want to use this name, right? And once you do that, basically kind of blocks it off so that no one else can take it, right? At least locally anyway, okay? And if you really want to block it off so that no one can take it internationally, then that's a different process that you need to look into, right? But if you're doing it locally, then it's going to block your name off locally so that no one else can use that name. But that's only for local reason. So, for example, if my company name is Stephen Lee Photography, there could be another Stephen Lee Photography in Vancouver or Toronto or Montreal, right? Because I don't have my name registered across Canada right now, right? So if you're thinking big and you want to go global, then that's something for you to consider. Like if you're in the print business, meaning you're selling fine arts, then you might want to go international because you're selling internationally, right? Yeah. Okay, so owner says, yeah, so if it's local, it's $100, and if you want to go international, it's about $500. And then lastly, you want to get insurance. So you want to get commercial insurance. Because when you run a business now, you have liabilities, okay? You're responsible for either people that you're around, like that are around you, or you're responsible for the space that's around you, be it like a physical space like a building or a outdoor space like a park or something, right? So for example, if you use someone else's studio space, let's say you're doing a shoot at your house, okay? And you have a cord running across the floor and you're doing a family session and a grandma comes in and she trips on the cord and she breaks her leg. Now you have to pay for her medical bills in the hospital, right? So if you don't want to get sued and pay for all that, you need to get yourself a commercial license. If let's say you're doing an indoor shoot with sparklers and you start a fire and you burn the house down or burn the building down, well, who's going to pay for that? Either you're paying it from your own pocket or you get commercial insurance and it's going to cover you for that. Okay. So yeah, it's super important to get commercial insurance. And if you need a recommendation on where to get commercial insurance, a great place is called Desjardins, Desjardin. Okay. Yeah, so I just answered your question, David, about business insurance. And then once you get all of that done, then it's time to market your business, right? You need to tell people you exist. That's all marketing is. Marketing is just simply telling people you exist, right? So saying, hey guys, look at me, I have a company and I do family photos. Hey guys, I exist, look at me, I do weddings. Would you like to book me? That's all marketing is, okay? For me to talk about marketing, we can't talk about marketing today because that's like another 10-hour class to talk about marketing. But yeah, that's something, once you kind of get to that place, feel free to hit me up and we can talk about marketing if you want. Okay, as I mentioned, I have a gift for you guys so that you don't have to write all that down. I have a roadmap for you, which I already given to you, but I have a PDF version of it. So if for those that want it, just type in this into the, actually, I'll put in the chat box so you don't have to type it up. Here we go. There we go. So I typed in the chat box, just click on that. If it doesn't click, then you'll need to copy and paste it. Oh, sorry, I forgot the H. Let's try that again. Yeah, sorry about that, I forgot the H. Click on that, I'll give you guys like a minute to click on it because I know everybody wants to click on it and get it. So while we're doing that, okay, yeah, thank you, Steph, for, yeah, Desjardins, for business insurance. So for my business insurance, it was about $250. Yeah, about $250 for the year, I think, roughly around there, plus or minus. Okay, so hopefully everyone's got their, was able to download it. Okay, bonus lesson. So we talked about having to burn the ship. We talked about having mentors, right? Or people that can tell you what to do, right? And then we talked about having a roadmap, right? Like actually knowing what to do from 0 to A, right? From 0 to starting your photography business, right? No problems from Ray. Okay, so the last lesson is you need support. And I kind of hinted on this a little bit with like some of the stories that I've been sharing, but you do need support, either support from like your family members, from close friends, or from your peers, right? But you do need support to push you through because it's not going to be easy, right? Because for you to do these 10 things, that's a lot of work, right? It's not going to be easy. And you need support to kind of help you take the next step and then take the next step and then take the next step. And doing all this could be a 2 to 3 month process, right? Hopefully not a 1 to 5 year process, right? You know, 4 years of thinking about it and then actually 1 year of doing it, right? This could take you 3 months, right? Depending on, you know, and that's if you have support. If you don't have support, this could take you a year, right? Like someone to kind of help you, push you. So you really want support, right? And actually an ideal support system would be other people that are also trying to start a photography business. Then you can help each other and push each other, right? So that would be the ideal support. So as I mentioned, I'm part of a mastermind, right? Where it's called the Inner Circle Mastermind, where I meet with them every week and they're my support group, right? Where we talk about what our goals are and then we talk about what is the next step that we're going to take, right? Not what our big goal is, but just what is the next step, right? And then we keep doing little steps, little steps, little steps until you reach the big, big goal, right? And so if you guys are looking for support, definitely look into mastermind groups. Those are great. There's also Facebook groups for basically anything you can think of. There's Facebook groups for photographers. I want to start a photography business or that are new to photography. Yeah. So for me, yeah, like I said, this is my support group where we kind of help each other. So definitely you need some support. Okay, so before I talk about the next surprise, Quentin says, how about contracts? Okay, so if you're looking for contracts, there's a website called lawdepot.com. I can type it up. So if you want more information about contracts, you can check them out. for some legal stuff. Oh yeah, and if you guys are looking for accountability partners and want to be each other's accountability partners, you can feel free to type in the chat and maybe your contact info and you can reach out to each other. You can definitely do that. Okay, so for Lynn, when you say copyright infringement, obviously you mean someone stealing your images. Oops, sorry. I typed in that as a private message. Here we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, so it really depends on who they are and how you can go after them, I guess, if they steal your images, right? If they're like based out of Russia or China or some other country, right, they're going to be really hard to go after, and there's really very little you can do about it. But if they're local or in like North America and we have really strict rules about that, you can go after them. I mean, I would step one, just reach out, message them and say, hey, you're using my image, can you take it down, right? Just be nice about it, ask them. And if they refuse to do it, then you can send a lawyer after them, but then lawyers cost money. So then you need to ask yourself, is it worth me sending a lawyer after them, right? Yeah. Okay, so I got another surprise for you guys because you guys are so awesome. I want to help you out with your photography business. So remember how I said step 10 is you need to market your business. And to teach you marketing would be like a 10-hour class. Well, I'm going to give you a head start, okay, on marketing. So when you do start your business, you got something to get you going with the marketing, okay? And what it is I have a free ebook for you guys, and it's 50 ways to market and get clients for your business, okay? Totally free, doesn't cost you anything. Again, here's the link to download it. I will post a link to it so you don't have to type it out. I'll give you guys a minute to download that. So how's everybody enjoying the information so far? Actually, I think we're getting to the end. So actually, I will ask that question to wrap it up. Okay, so just to summarize, right? We need to burn the ship because I don't want you to be waiting 1, 2, 3, 4 years of thinking about starting a photography business. And then maybe you're 6, 7, or 8, you finally do it, right? Life is short and you need to take action now. You need to find yourself a mentor, okay? Feel free to reach out to me too if you want. Hit me up on Facebook, hit me up on Instagram, Messenger, whatever you want. Email me if you want. I am happy to answer any questions that you have. So you can always have me as one of your mentors in your corner. I'm happy to do that for you. I've given you the roadmap, so no excuse on not knowing what to do, okay? And then you need support. And it looks like some of you are trying to support each other. So that's awesome. So do you guys have any questions? Any questions for me? Yeah, no, just whenever you're reaching out to somebody. So Quentin says, professionals often find random solicitations annoying. Is there a right or better way to approach a prospective mentor? Yeah, when you reach out to somebody, always don't go straight to the point, right? Treat them like a real person and have a conversation with them, right? Just go, hey, how's it going? I love your work. Like compliment them to start off, right? Hey, how's it going? I see you're a professional photographer. That's so amazing. I wish I could be one, right? Or that's really inspiring, or I love your work. Like start with a compliment, right? And then just have a conversation with them, right? Don't go straight to the point. And then when you do have a conversation with them, position in the way is what's in it for them, not what's in it for you. Okay. So what's in it for them, right? How can I make their life better? And if you can position it that way, the conversation that way instead, then they're going to want to talk to you, right? Like if someone reaches out to me and say, "Hey, Steven, right? Can I work for you for free?" I'm like, "I'm listening. Let's talk," right? Or, "Hey, Steven, I want to learn from you, right? Can I no, job shadow you for a little bit?" I'm like, "Cool," right? I actually don't mind that, right? But if someone's like, "Hey, can I have coffee with you for an hour?" I'm like, maybe." Right? If you're gonna buy me dinner, okay, I will, right? So at least offer to buy them dinner, right? Or buy them coffee. Because like I said, their time is worth something, right? Especially when you're running a full-time business, you're working like 60 to 80 hours, right? And if you want to consume 1 to 2 hours of their time, you should pay them, right? Even if you pay them in food, they would appreciate you paying them in food. So that's my recommendation. If you're gonna meet them in real life, buy them food. Okay. Offer them to buy them, you know, dinner, lunch, whatever. Okay. To in exchange for like maybe picking their brain or asking them some questions. Okay. So that's what I would do. Add value, make their life better. Don't give them more work. Okay. Um, okay, so Spencer says, how do you get into product photography? Step one is to build a portfolio. Okay, so reach out to people that have products, or just reach out to local businesses and say, hey, can I take photos of your things for free to build a portfolio? Then once you have a portfolio, then you start reaching out to people. You do the same thing, but this time you charge money. Maybe you do the first couple photos for free. Like let's say they have 30 or 40 different products, right? You do 3 of them for free. And then after, like, if you want more, I have to charge now, but you got a sample of my work, right? Do you require contracts for weddings or portrait sessions? Yes and yes. Weddings for sure. Portraits, ideally, depending on how big the portrait sessions are. Basically, contracts I find it are generally recommended for large jobs. When it's small jobs, you don't need to so much, I would say, but it's always good to have. Cole, no. Um, okay, anyone else have any questions before we move on? We're not done yet. We're almost done. Well, you can always ask me questions at the end, and I will answer them at the end of this presentation. Uh, they just need to, so David asked about contracts. They just need to cover all the important points. So for example, my wedding contract is about 3 pages. One page is the actual like details of it, and the other pages are just like basic information and their packages and things like that. Okay, so what was your favorite thing that you learned today? You can type in the chat box. Okay, Cole says burning the ship. Steph says burning the ship. Awesome, I love it. Haiti says mentoring options. Awesome. Lynn says, well, follow you back. Andy says to take the leap, so burn the ship. Awesome. Dave likes the roadmap. Lynn liked everything. Wes liked the roadmap. Franz liked the roadmap. Dave liked the roadmap. Spencer loves my stories. Thank you. Cole says is buying gear a form of burning the ship? I would say it is burning the ship in terms of getting you into photography, but not so much getting you into the business side of photography. Yeah. Okay. All good things for Mary says everything. Thomas says all the above. Steph says awesome work, followed you. Very informative. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to move on. We're not done yet. We're almost done. Not boring. Okay, thank you. Andy says, did I vet my mentors? Yes, I did. Basically, I got to hang out with them, and then after I decided I really liked, I really liked what they had to say and what they were teaching, and I just decided to basically just subconsciously or consciously invest more time into them. Yeah. Okay, thank you, everybody. So yeah, we're gonna move on. We're not done yet here. Okay, so obviously, I'm assuming a lot of people got some actionable content here, right? I gave you the roadmap, right? Okay, I'll come back and answer a lot of your questions later. I'll answer them at the end, so I'll come back to you guys. Okay, so what's next? Right, now that you got all this great information, you learned about the concept of burning the ship, you learned about having a mentor, you've been given the roadmap, so now you know what to do, right? So you don't need me anymore. You already got the roadmap, right? And I talked about creating a support system, which you guys looks like you guys are going to create your own support system, which is awesome. What's next? Right? What's the next step, right? Well, you need to take action, obviously, right? After this, you shouldn't be just thinking about it anymore, right? I'm not going to be thinking about it. I gave you those action steps, or what I want you to do after this workshop is to print that PDF, right? That had those 10 steps, put it on your wall, like wherever your office is, put it on the wall. You stare at that piece of paper, and then every day you check off one thing, right? Saying, hey, I did this. And you keep checking off and you get to number 10. Once you get to number 10, then you're done, as in you just started your business, right? Okay, so who wants to burn the ship? I'm curious. Who's ready to burn the ship? You ready? Who's ready to do this? Type in the chat box if you're ready to burn the ship. Steph says me. For Mary says I am. Cole says I'm in the process. Wes says yep. Vadim says every other day. Awesome. Cole says kind of. Pam does. Haiti got some gas and a match here. Awesome. Love it. My ship is already on fire. Awesome, Quentin. Owner says doing it. Awesome. In the process of quite some time. Andy says yes. Currently burning the ship through school. Okay, awesome, Franz. Wes was planning to do last year, intended to quit and go full time. Awesome, Wes. Dave says, on the way. Lynn says, I am kind of glad I didn't, was Wes. Okay, Wes wants to do it this year. Looks like I'm already started. Yeah, you guys are starting to burn the ship, which is good through just attending this class. June says, I wish my family prevents me. Well, we can talk more about it, June. Okay, so for those that want to burn the ship, I'm going to help you burn the ship, okay? Who would love my help to burn the ship? I'm going to help you guys burn the ship. And basically, I'm also going to be your mentor, okay? At least one of your mentors that you're going to have. For those that want me to be one of your mentors, right? I've done this full time. I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for 7 years. So I think I know how to help you start a photography business. And I'm also going to give you a more detailed roadmap, because the roadmap I gave you was a great overview, but I'm going to give you an even better roadmap, like one that's even more detailed for each item, like how to do exactly everything, like how to build a website, how to get your logo designed, how to basically all the little steps. So for those that want my help and would like to work with me to help you, mentor you, help you burn the ship, give you a way more detailed roadmap, I'm actually going to be launching something called the Unstoppable Photographers Launch. So basically, we're going to burn the ship, and I'm going to work with you to launch your photography business. And we're going to do it in 60 days. So no more talking about it for a year, talking about it for 3 years, talking about it for 5 years. We're going to do it in 60 days, okay? At least that's the goal. If you need more time, obviously, you can take as long as you need. but at least we're going to get some momentum and we're going to get going. Okay. So I'll be creating a course that's going to help you launch your photography business in 60 days. What is involved? So it's like I said, it's going to be a 2-month course, right? So 60 days. I'm going to do live weekly training. And if you can't attend it live, no big deal. I'm going to have it recorded and then that content will be dripped every week. So you can get weekly content with actionable items. So those 10 steps that you saw, besides marketing, actually, no, we're going to talk about marketing too. I'm going to talk about each of those steps 1 week at a time and give you something to do every week. When you join this course, you also have lifetime access to all the recordings, right? So if you need more than 60 days, if it takes you 6 months to do this, then you can take 6 months to do this because you'll always have access to the whole course. Plus, remember how I say we need support? So I'm also going to create a Facebook community. So all of you can be part of that, be in there to support each other and you can help each other start your photography business. Plus, I'm also going to be in the Facebook group. So I will mentor you. If you have any questions, you can type in there. Either I will answer it or somebody in the community can help you with that. So you're going to get your mentoring. You're going to be burning the ship. You're going to get your support. And I'm going to give you a way more detailed roadmap of how to start a photography business instead of talking about this for like, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, right? I want you to take action now. So here's kind of a more bigger breakdown of what we're going to be talking about every week. So pretty much that roadmap I gave you is pretty much the gist of what we're going to go through. The only real difference is I'm going to also talk about starting a social media accounts. So like an Instagram and a Facebook. At the end of it, I'm going to show you how to launch your business and actually get 3 paying clients. So you're actually going to be making money. So that's kind of like my definition of how you define starting a photography business. You're actually going to get paying clients. So if you can't get 3 paying clients, I will give your money back. Okay. Or I will work with you until you get 3 paying clients. Okay. And then as a bonus, week 9, so a bonus lesson, I'm going to talk about marketing. So I'm going to talk about how you can get more clients or get clients for your business so you can actually start making money. Okay. So this actually starts this coming Monday. We're talking about burning the ship, right? We're not waiting. We're doing it now. We're starting Monday. Go, go, go. That's just for the live training. If you can't attend it live, no big deal. You're just going to get it dripped. Like the training will be dripped in the back end. You just watch it whenever you have time, basically. What is this worth to you? So what does it mean to you to finally start a photography business is my question. Type your answer in the chat box. Escape the 9 to 5, okay. It means helping my community, awesome. Being your own boss, awesome. So yeah, you can be like me. You don't have to do this full time, but if you want to do it full time, I can definitely help you with the first step anyway. Happiness, awesome. Anna says happy, fun, and adventure. Pam says another career venture. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, this you could just be something that you start off and make it as a part-time thing, right? You don't have to quit your job. But this is an extra source of income, right? And it's always good to have a backup too, because what if you get laid off? And then you don't want to be just making nothing, right? Cole says being a role model to my youth or to youth. Thomas says doing what I choose, a sense of freedom. Andy says other people see what I see, what you see, and pay you what they like, what if they like it. Okay. Haiti says create, work, and play. Awesome. So I have one more question for you guys. How much money would you make over 5 years if you started a photography business now? And I was able to help you launch it in 60 days. There's no right or wrong answer. Just give me what you think. Cole says $1 million. Roshan says 60K. Andy says 300,000. I like your answer, Cole. You're very optimistic, thinking big. I like it. Lynn says 2,000. Steph says 30K. David says 500K. Haiti says 5 to 60K. Pam says 50K. Okay, cool. I like those numbers. 150K. Depends how much unnecessary equipment I need to buy. Okay, good answer, Quinton. Okay, so you guys are in luck. Normally, I would be charging $500 for this. Okay, normally. But this is actually my first time doing this. So you guys are actually my founders. This is the first time I'm actually launching this course. So it's not even going to be $500. You're close, Andy. I could charge $250, and I think that would be a reasonable price to charge. But I'm not even going to charge $250. And again, this is because this is a founder, and this is my first time doing this. And there might be some issues. Issues meaning like it won't be super smooth the way I run the course. So for you guys, because you guys are so awesome, and you guys are, you guys are founders. Plus, one of my calls in life is to help people, right? I want to help people, and specifically in the business world, meaning helping them make money and make their dreams come true financially, right? And also having a career that they love. So I'm actually only going to charge $100 for this course, which is super ridiculously low. It's like nothing really, right? Because you're going to make your money back and more, because I promise that you're going to get 3 paying clients at the end of it. That's my promise to you guys. Okay. So basically the course is free, but you just have to pay now and you can get your money back later, right? And then as a bonus, and this is only for new members, once the course is done, so after 60 days, or after I teach the marketing class, which is I guess week 9, I have another group, which is the group after the course. And this is basically another community called just the Unstoppable Photographer, where we basically, after the course is over, I keep supporting you through additional training like marketing, teaching you about Instagram marketing, Facebook marketing, finances, SEO, whatever you want support with, is that ongoing support after the course. And you get to join it for free for a month, for free, which is $30 right now. Kind of this is what that other course membership you get. You get like 1 month, every month you get a workshop. There's a live Q&A where I go live and you get group coaching from me. I give you challenges to do to help you grow your business. And then you're also part of a Facebook group. And then I also throw in some of my workshops just on photography fundamentals, right? Like how to edit, camera fundamentals, portraits, things like that. And so far, I've already taught Instagram marketing, Facebook marketing, and finance and pricing. So you'll actually have access to all of that in the back end when you join. Obviously, you can join right away if you wanted to, but you get it for free after the 60 days. Time commitment. What is the time commitment for this? So like I mentioned, if you can't do it in 60 days, right? If you feel like that's too rushed for you, don't worry about that. Like if you're going to school, you have a full-time job, whatever the situation is, or you have life, you have a family, you have kids, you can take as long as you need to go through the whole course. You'll always have lifetime access to the course. I'm just going to be releasing the videos once a week and going live once a week until the course is over, because this is my first time doing the course, right? But once it's done, you can, let's say after 60 days, you're only at module number 4 or week 4, then just continue on with week 4. And then when you're ready for week 5, you move on to week 5. So really, you can take as long as you need, but we're going to be there to push you to make sure you keep moving the needle forward. Okay. So who's in? Who's in? Who wants to do this? Who wants to finally do it now and not wait a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years to do this? So for those that want to do this, I'm going to give you another incentive to burn the ship. The first 10 people to sign up, I'm actually giving you access to my 2-hour training on marketing for photographers. Okay? First 10 people that sign up tonight, you get my access to my 2-hour marketing for photographer training for free. So here it is, $100. I'm going to post a link in the chat. Let's see here. Here we go. Oh, and by the way, if you guys are already in my group, so there's a few of you here, I think, that are already in my Unstoppable Photographer group. Don't sign up through this link because you guys get a special price since you're already a member. Okay. So yeah, that's it. I hope I'm going to see some of you there. Like I said, I hope that you're not going to just keep talking about this for a couple years and you're actually going to do it. Okay. And I'm going to help you, like I said, push you. Plus, we're going to help push each other to make this happen finally. So for those that do sign up, type after you signed up, just type in, I've signed up so I know that you're signed up, just so we can get the party started and congratulate you. Wes, okay, Wes, the course isn't free. If you're going to guarantee 3 sales, paying for more than itself. Okay, good point. So Wes says it's cheaper than free. You're actually, I'm actually giving you money to sign up. Right? Yeah, if I can guarantee you 3 sales, like how much is one sale to you? Even if you only charge $50 for one session, right? 3 sales, 50 times 3 is $150. So I'm paying you to sign up for my class, right? You just have to put a $100 deposit. That's all you need to do. But then you can get your money back and more. Awesome, Lynn. Okay, Andy signed up. Lynn signed up. Awesome, we got 2. Congratulations. I'm going to give you a high five. High five. Wes signed up. High five, Wes. Fran says, I would love to, but sort of stuck in university life. Okay, no issues. Jody signed up. Awesome. High five, Jody. Okay, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me now. We can have open Q&A sessions, either about more details about this course or my membership, the Unstoppable Photographer membership. Yeah, or anything else. If you want me to talk about anything else, any questions that you have, let me know. Quentin says, checking with my lady before I spend money. Okay, no worries. That's really important. uh, Thomas signed up. High five, Thomas. Yeah, no worries. If you need more than 60 days, it's going to be there. You have access to it lifetime, but we're going to push you, right? Spencer, thank you very much. Awesome. Cole signed up. Awesome. Lynn says, hopefully I will use it to go to Nate. Okay, cool. Yeah, so Nate or Lynn, I guess, if you do attend Nate, they're going to teach you, yeah, pretty much everything you need to know about photography in terms of the photo side of things. This will actually help you with the business side of things, which is something that they don't really cover. But yeah, if you just sign up for that program and you get to the part of the mentoring where you need to mentor under somebody, yeah, you get to pick who you want to mentor under. So if you're like, hey, they actually make you go find your own mentors. So yeah, you already know. So then yeah, definitely reach out to me. Roshan was asking, how is the market for 2D, 3D animation in Alberta? Animation for what? For video? Like what's the animation for? For video. I would say the market is huge, especially now that people can't meet in person to do videos. They're moving towards animated videos now, actually, because they can't meet in person. Yeah. The only problem with animated videos is you're competing with people from around the world now, right? So they can hire animators from India, China, Europe, whatever, right? So it's a double-edged sword. But no, it's booming because again, people that want video but they can't do real life video because they can't meet in person because of COVID. There's a huge demand for animated videos. Lynn says coffee is on me. Yeah, no, if anyone here is based out of Edmonton and want to hit me up and ask me questions, yeah, hit me up. I like cheesecakes. You want to buy me a cheesecake? I'll meet up with you. Quentin says, my lady approved. Awesome. High five, Quentin. Did I miss any other questions from anybody? Pam says, I would love to, but single mom with 3 kids, budget's tight. Well, like I mentioned, I'm actually paying you to sign up for the class. You're just putting down a $100 deposit. But after you go through the course and I guarantee your 3 paying clients, you're going to get your money back and more. Because especially being a mom, it's actually really easy to make money in photography because all you do is shoot other people's kids, right? You set up a home, you set up a home studio and you just shoot people's kids and you're just making money. And your kids can be there while you're shooting other people's kids, right? Because you're at home. Yeah, no, I know a lady, she does mini sessions and she does them based on like the seasons, right? Or the holidays. Like she's doing one for Valentine's Day, then she'll change her backdrop for St. Patrick's Day, then she'll change her backdrops for Easter. So she never have to leave the house and she just makes money from home while her kids are at home. For Mary says, interested but not today. Okay, no worries. David says, is starting a photography business the same as starting a videography business? Yes, the steps are the same. So if you want to sign up for this class just to build a video business, just let me know about that when you do sign up, and it's the same process, and I'll help you. Yeah, I'll help you. It'll be pretty much the same. The only difference is, let's see here. Well, when I talk about portfolio building, it won't be about shooting clients. It'll be doing videos for clients, but the way you get your clients will be the same, right? And then, you know, everything else would be the same. And even the launch party and how you get your first 3 paying clients, the strategies will be the same for video. Yeah, it'll be the same. Pam, how long do we have to sign up? You have until Monday, technically. But again, if you're the first 10 to sign up, we don't have 10 yet that signed up, I think. But if you're the first 10 to sign up, you will get that free class or free course on marketing, my 2-hour marketing for photographer training. Yeah. Haiti says she just did it. High five, Haiti. I think we're down to like maybe 2 left now. Maybe I think we have at least 8 people signed up. I'm not counting. David says, do you recommend if you are starting a photography to do video at the same time or start one? I generally recommend starting one business at a time, right? It's like starting a, you're trying to be a wedding photographer and a family photographer, right? I don't recommend doing that at the same time. I recommend one at a time. But what you can do is push one. So let's say you're going to start a photography business. Start with the photography business and then upsell your video. Meaning, let's just say you're doing a family session, for example. You're like, hey, I'm doing a family session. By the way, do you also want a video, little quick video of your kids, right? So you want to focus on one, but you can upsell the second service that you can provide. So that I would do instead of saying I do photos and I do video kind of in their face, like when they visit your website. Kathleen says, I already invest heavily in an annual membership at Hair of the Dog Academy. Is that like dog training or something? Cole says, was I the first 10? I will find out. Let's see. Is it Monday yet? That's awesome. Love it. That was Andy. Okay. Oh, actually, I guess I can find out. I can log into my backend and find out. Let's see here. How many people signed up so far? It's going to be in the evening. And again, if you can't attend live, yeah, so it's going to be Monday at 7 is what I'm thinking. And if you can't attend live, it's going to be recorded. So you can always just watch the replay after. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, we do have 10 people signed up already. Okay, congratulations, guys. We have, I don't know, how many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, oh no, 19, 20, 21. Okay, I could be wrong, but I count 26. Wow, that's like most of you guys. That's awesome. At least half anyway. First time investing in classes for photography. Way to go, Cole. This is going to be the best class you're ever going to take, because this class is free. Like I said, it's going to make you money. This is better than most classes out there where it's just purely education and sure you're growing mentally, right? And as a person in terms of your skills. But this one, you're going to make money from this one, which is nice. And also helping you with, living a life, doing more of what you love. David says, what are your thoughts on choosing a business name? Should you be using your own name or can you use something unique? Does one stick out more than the other? Okay, so that's a very good question. So should you use your name? If you're not feeling very creative, then yeah, you can just simply go with your name, okay? Like your name, photography, right? That's pretty simple. And what's great about that is generally no one else is going to have that same name, meaning you won't have a lot of competition, unless your name is very common, like John Smith, right? But definitely when you do come up with a name, you want to Google it to make sure no one else has it. And not just someone locally, but no one globally. Because you don't want someone to be confused, like to confuse your company with their company, right? So for example, if let's say there's another Stephen Lee Photography out there, right? And someone Googles Stephen Lee Photography and that other person shows up. And then people start getting confused, like, wait, are you Stephen Lee Photography or is this person Stephen Lee Photography from, and if all of a sudden that other person starts getting messages from you for your clients, then you're losing a lot of business simply because you picked a name with a company name that's similar to someone else, right? So, and don't even go with the same name and change it to .ca or .co or like a variation of .com. Just change your name, right? And if you're going to use a name that is not your name, so just something creative like, I don't know, high level photography or beautiful light photography or whatever, right? Again, make sure you do a Google search and make sure that no one else has taken it, okay? You don't want to compete with that other person, right? It's not worth your time, right? To compete with that other person and trying to kind of overtake them on Google, right? Just keep going through different names until you find a name that you like, but at the same time is not confusing to the client, meaning when they see it, they kind of understand what you're about. And the third thing is it's not taken by someone else, right? Yeah. So those are things to consider. Okay, so Cole says, what if it's on your Facebook page? Yeah, so if it's another person like so they don't own so there's the .com is not taken, but the Facebook page is taken. I think that's okay, right? You should be okay with that. Yeah. Vadim, about how much time roughly are we expecting to commit to it every week? Like I said, you go at your own pace, but I would say most of these don't take a lot of time. Like they'll take like maybe 2 to 3 hours, maybe. The one that's going to be the big one is the website. Okay. Website and maybe building your logo. But building your logo, you can take your time. Like while we're, let's say on week 4, you can still be in the process of building your logo, right? And then building your portfolio also will take some time, right? It might take you 2 to 3 weeks. But while you're doing that, you can work on week 5 and week 6 as items, basically, right? But again, I'm going to help you with the shortcut to get these done as quick as possible. But Yeah, I would say the hardest thing would be the website and maybe your logo are the two things. And then maybe your portfolio. Like getting the client won't be easy. I mean, will be easy, sorry. It's doing the actual shoot, right? You need to block off time. So maybe like 2 hours per shoot, right? You have to go shoot it and you have to edit your photos and then you have to draft. So maybe 3 hours, I guess. Yeah. But again, you can do that over the 8 weeks, like building your portfolio, right? Yeah. So just like do one shoot a weekend, right? For 3 weeks, and then you'll get your three. Uh Diana, I will talk to you later regarding this class too. Is not sure if I have time for both classes. This is class on Monday only and for 3 months. This some of the details. Um, yeah, so the classes, when I'm doing them live, will be every Monday at 7 o'clock. And again, you don't have to attend it live. Just you can just wait for the replay, right? You can just like again, just wait for the replay and then just watch it and do the action that I mentioned. Let's see. Okay, so David asked about what are some recommendations for good starting gear. So it depends on what you want to shoot. If you're shooting weddings, the 70 to 200 and 24 to 70 is recommended. If you're doing portraits, you just need the 50 mil, right? If you can't afford the 24 to 70, 70 to 200 because they're pretty expensive, they're about 1,500, I would say each. Then you should get at least a good all-purpose zoom lens, like an 18 to 250, f3.5. That's a Sigma, and you want a flash, like a speed light with a diffuser. So that's great for event photography. And then yeah, for portraits, like studio portraits, a 50 would be fine. Maybe a 35, and then an 85. Um, yeah, so for you, like you have an 18 to 55 and the 55 to 250. The issue with that is if you want to go from 18 to 55 and then from 55 to 250, you have to constantly switch lenses. I mean, I guess that's fine because it's similar to having a 24 to 70 and a 70 to 200, I guess. Yeah. So I guess, yeah, if you have those, then that should be fine. And then you got a wide angle for like the group photos. Vadim, okay, Vadim answered his question. Okay, does anyone else have any other questions? I will. What time is it right now? So it's 8:52. So yeah, if you need to leave, I'll stick around for another 8 minutes. So I'll stick around till 9 o'clock. Yeah, I just want to thank you all for attending my class. And again, I'll stick around for 7 minutes. Ask me anything. I'm an open book. I'm one of those few photographers that's openly willing to share everything I know, or almost everything I know, with people. I'm not one of those that like tries to hide everything and keep everything a secret or be, you know, just I like to share and I like to help and I like to help everyone kind of grow and see that transformation in everybody. And that's why I love to teach, right? I like to see people grow. No, you need both. So you actually need a 24 to 70 and the 70 to 200. So it kind of completes the range for call. Lynn says, does a D5200 work for business? It does. But eventually, I think you should look into the 7000 series. So like the D7 7100, 7200, 7500. Yeah. Anyone else have any other questions? Okay, so what's your next step besides attending my class? What's everybody's next step? Okay, cool. So I'll tell you what's going on next. I guess so now that you've signed up, you will be getting an email from me with a link with more information over the next couple of days. So if you're not seeing anything right now, don't worry about it. I just don't have everything set up in the back end, right? Again, this is everything's very new, and I just kind of created my landing page on the back end today. But you'll see more information over the next couple of days. So expect a couple of emails from me. But I appreciate everybody that took action today. Yeah, glad to see somebody burning the ship. So yeah, let's burn the ship. Let's do this. Let's start making some money and start finally growing that photography, starting that photography business, and stop thinking about this for years. Quentin, yes. So Quentin asked about the exact schedule. So here, I'll share it in the slides, but here we go. I will also post it in the back end once, once I have more time to do that. But this is the curriculum. That's a curriculum for the class. Lynn says, burnt the ship by resigning from my job. Way to go. Woot, woot. I don't recommend that for everybody. But yeah, congratulations, Lynn, for quitting your job. Wes says, go Riders. Yeah, way to go. Yeah, Riders are like the football team in Saskatchewan. So fellow Saskatchewan, I guess. um, Yeah, I will be around for another 4 minutes if anybody want to ask me anything. So so Cole says they said to sign in at Unstoppable Photography, but didn't give me a password. When you signed in, I think it asks you to create a username password. If not, check your email and maybe there's a link to create your username password. And if that still doesn't work, I think you can click on forget password and then they'll give you an email to change your password. Okay, June asks, how do you communicate with leads to convert to clients? Okay, so that's basically sales. That's something that I teach in the Unstoppable Photographers community. That's one of the topics I do cover. But if you guys want a quick lesson on sales, I can definitely do that. I don't mind, again, I don't mind sharing. So let's talk about sales. So who here has ever had a client reach out to you to say, to try to book you? And what's the first question do they ask? What's the very first question they ask? Okay, Wes says how much. Cole says how much. And Anna says how much. June says how much. Yep. And what's the answer to the question? Anna says lots. Cole says 1 million. Wes says, I asked what they're looking for. Okay, so the best answer is West, okay? So when somebody asks you, how much do you charge for blank, right? How much do you charge for a family session? How much do you charge for a newborn session? How many you charge for a wedding? How much do you charge for photos of my kids? Whatever, right? You never give them the price right away. And the reason for that is then all they're going to do is price shop, right? So they're going to be like, how much do you charge for a family session? 350. Okay, cool, thanks. Then you go to the next photographer. How much do you charge for a family session? $300. Okay, cool, thanks. They go to the next photographer. How much do you charge for a wedding, for a family session? $400. Cool, thanks. Then they look at your portfolio, and if your portfolio is the same, they're like, oh, we'll go with the $300 photographer, right? And that's it, right? Now, the better way to do it, and I've used this trick, and it was so effective. I'm giving you guys like a secret here, a little secret trick here on sales. This trick was so effective that the client basically says, Steven, I want to book you. Let's do this. And I didn't even tell them what the price was at all. They're like, I want to book you. Let's do this. And he was about to hang up the phone. And then he's like, wait a second. I forgot to talk about price. How much do you actually charge? So who's ready to book me without knowing the price at all, right? And obviously, I had to give him a price that, like, the price that I end up giving him had to be within his budget, or at least his range, right? Because if it's way over his budget, then he'll definitely say no, right? But mine came in to kind of his general range, right? Even if it was a little bit more expensive, he's pretty much committed to me, and he's like, yeah, let's do it. Even you're a little bit more expensive, but I like you. Let's do this, right? So what's the trick? Like, what did I actually say to him to get him to book me without knowing what the price was? So what you do is when someone asks you, how much do you charge? Okay. You don't give them the price right away. The first thing you do is you ask a lot of questions first, right? Because there's actually a lot of variables for you to even give them pricing, right? So you want to say things like, and I'll use the family photo shoot as an example. Well, actually, I'll use this real life example. So my example was for a couple session. Okay, it was an engagement shoot, and he was going to do a surprise engagement. Okay, so then I'm like, okay, I can totally give you the price, but before I get there, I need to ask you a few questions. He's like, okay, sure, right? And then he goes, okay, so yeah, so then he goes, okay, how much? This is like, okay, no, totally. Ask your questions, right? It's like, so tell me more information about the shoot. Why do you want to book an engagement session, right? He's like, I'm trying to do a surprise engagement because I want to propose. Oh, that's very cute. Sure. And it's like, okay, do you have a location in mind? He's like, no, I don't actually. It's like, okay. Do you want me to make some recommendations? It's like, sure. So I made some recommendation, and then based on my recommendation, he picked one of them. He picked a Mootard. It's like, cool. Do you have a date in mind? Yeah, I'm thinking maybe this day. Okay, what time? Maybe in the afternoon. What do you think? And again, gave him my suggestions. Like, yeah, let's do it in the afternoon. It's like, cool. So then he told me what he wanted. He's like, actually, I want you to take some photos after I propose. But before, can you do some videos of the actual proposal itself? Right? I'm like, yeah, totally, I can do that. And I was like, okay, cool. Then he's like, so what's the logistics? How are we actually going to go about doing it in such a way that she doesn't realize I'm going to propose, right? So then I basically helped him plan out the whole secret engagement, right? Of me recording it without him knowing or her knowing that he's going to do something special, right? And so I helped him plan it out. Basically, what we did was basically I told them I'll pretend to be there just taking photos of the Mootard. They're going to be there taking selfies with their cell phone. And then I'm gonna approach them and say, oh, hey, I noticed you're taking selfies with your cell phone. Is it okay if I take the photos for you with your cell phone? And then they're gonna say yes. I grab their cell phone, take photos for them, give them back the cell phone. Then I'll say, hey, can I take some professional photos with my camera? And they'll send it to you for free. And they're like, yeah, sure. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set my camera on a tripod to take the photo, but instead of pushing the photo button, right, to shoot, I'm gonna hit the record button, and then he's gonna propose. And then he did the proposal, and then she was super surprised. And then I did some photos after. And because I did all this work for him, helped him plan the whole thing out, he pretty much said, Steven, you're my guy. I'm gonna book you. And he didn't know what the price was. So does that kind of help? You want to ask questions, add value, make their life better, help them have them be invested in you, right? They're basically almost like they're already working with you without them committing to working with you. And when that happens, they're less likely to say no because they already invested so much time and energy into you, right? And then they're just basically said, okay, I'm gonna book you, and then that's it, or they're gonna book you and how much. So I hope that kind of helps. A little sales strategy right there. Yeah. So never lead with price. Always wait till the very end to talk about price. Because if you just give them a price, then you think 350 equals family session. When in reality, it's 350 equals family session plus consultation, plus planning the space, like picking the location, maybe helping out with clothes change, helping with posing, helping with, you're going to do all the editing and stuff. So now all of a sudden you went from 350 equals family shoot to 350 equals family shoot plus all this other stuff, right? And then they realize, wait, I'm getting a lot more for 350 than what I thought. Okay, cool. So that's it. It's past 9 o'clock. Appreciate all of you guys. Looking forward to seeing many of you on the other side at the course. Okay, catch y'all later. Bye.